Hello everyone, welcome to today's review session. Today I am reviewing the first round from the new NAOL Season 20. So I'm very excited for this. I am excited for another 5 weeks of games. So without further ado, let's jump right in. We have in the first game, we have Dawei Zhang 0202, 2Q as black, versus ericosman 2Q as white. And the nice thing about all these games is none of these games feature huge mistakes. And we can see that because all the games actually go to counting. No huge deaths. Nothing crazy happens. At least crazy results happens. There's fightings in the game for sure, but it's a lot of micromanaging and more direction of play and other things like that, as opposed to, oh, you missed this life and death or you missed that life and death, although there is some of that. But okay, black approaches, white plays here. It's maybe not trendy, but this was a Joseki move before AIs came around. So we get this. And then white extends here. Since this is the area white is very strong, I think this is a spot where, because you'll notice white ends up turning. I think white should either just turn directly or even play up to really maximize the space here. Because what ends up happening is whenever you have a Moyo, you almost want your opponent to come in. Because when your opponent comes in, you can attack it, right? That's kind of the idea. And it's not like there's any weaknesses towards the upper left or the lower left. So playing here almost minimizes the potential that your Moyo has. And so black is just able to ignore it. Black goes here, white turns. This is a thick move, and you really do want to try this if you are going to try this. I mean, you should really want to get this, I should say, if you're going to play the F4 variation here. So I don't mind this move, but notice black is just kind of not caring about what white's doing, and that is really the right mentality. All the strongest Go players are stubborn. So even though white is saying, okay, I'm building this left side, I'm attacking your lower left, black is really saying, I don't really care that much. And that's the right mentality. And not that white's moves here are small, but I just want to illustrate how all of white's stones are on one side of the board, whereas notice black is in every quadrant right now. So black's growth is much faster. And then when black plays this move, which this is a nice spot to get because it builds black's area up top while reducing white's left side. Again, I think I would maybe play here first to build a potential on the bottom. But this move is not bad at all. White then comes in. And when white comes in, I don't know what's going to happen, but I can get a sense that, okay, since black has a pinching stone at J17, already has a stone at Q13, this group is going to get attacked somehow, and white's left side is going to be maybe not in shambles, but black's going to be able to reduce this side somehow. So again, as white, I would actually want to try to build something along the bottom, something here. But yeah, I think here white should definitely try to do something different. White should try to do something. Oh, okay. Hello, Eric. No big mistakes. I was actually saying earlier how all 3 of these games, there's not really one big mistake that costs players the games. It's more of just little tiny things that ends up swinging one side or the other. And we're about to get to the really big first one in this game. White extends. This makes sense. Black shoulder hits. If you are going to come in, 017 is the best choice. Now, then it's a question of should you have come in, right? And that's always the big question. I think here, you're playing in an area where black has a lot of stones. And in general, you want to avoid that. So I would continue just trying to build, maybe play something along the bottom. And even if black ends up getting a stone to protect the upper right somehow, you can always still come in with some sector line move. Because we're really getting a Moyo versus Moyo game, and this is going to happen when, like on the left side, you spend 3 moves in Gote to build the left side. So you really gotta be patient in these kind of Moyo type games to not be the first one to come in, because whoever jumps in first is gonna get attacked. So is it the best spot? Yes. Was there better spots to play on the board? Also yes. So locally it's the best spot, but yeah, as we see here, black shoulder hits and plays here. Yeah, this is natural. Black's trying to seal white in. And white hanes, and here black needs to actually cut here. Even though white's going to be able to split black this way, there's a huge move at L18, which is hard for white to get, but there's a big move at M15, which is hard for white to get. So white really can't get both. If white pushes up, black gets this Atari, and white's shape is not super great here. Yes. Shaped by, like here. That is a nice shape. When black takes, though, it makes this a cut now, and now white's stones are yet again. Yes, that's the problem. Yep. So, yes. So, but I know white's feeling here, because if you play something quote unquote standard, black's gonna seal you in, and this also doesn't feel very good. Yeah, so I get the feeling of white going here. Now here, this is where white actually has a chance. When black cuts here, white has separated this J17 stone from the center stones, right? And now look at the upper left for black. Black is actually very weak now in the upper left. So whether white connects here first, forcing black to extend, and then playing something in the upper left, notice how weak black gets all of a sudden in this area. So white can actually switch it to attack the upper left. This is looking to cut the knight's move, as well as cutting off the J17 stone. Or in some cases, white can also immediately play G17. But yeah, so I think that's why black really needs to cut here, because of the weakness, how weak black gets in the upper left. But when white takes this stone, and black gets to cut, now look who's weak, right? Now black can use these stones in the upper left to now attack these 3 stones. So I think white had a chance here. I think connect first and then jump. And again, the thing is, these 2 stones do not have a lot of value for white, since black had played Q17 anyways. So it's not like the corner was that big to start with. So yeah, I don't even know what black would do here. Probably attach on top, but again, black's shape is very, very cramped and very, yeah, just very not alive either, which I guess is the main thing. So yeah, play this way. And turn, yep. And then turn here, sure. Jump, Hane. Because now white has to come back and live. And this group is only alive with 3 points, right? And yeah, that's not super great, especially when you end in pretty much Gote, although black does answer. Now, so white could have played differently up top, yes. But this is really the main problem of the game, is how valuable are these 4 stones? If black captures them, okay, black captures those stones, but how strong are the cutting stones, right? Black's already alive in the upper left, and these, 6 stones? Since they can cut anytime at 015, these stones are also pretty strong as well. So this is a moment where white should evaluate, okay, are these cutting stones important now? And not really. And the other problem is, if I run these out, how many points can I make? And white really can't make many points there. So this is where you probably do want to play something towards the top as white, but I don't think you want to play directly from those stones. So I'd play something to threaten to save them while maybe building the left side. So maybe I want to play a move around G12. If black really wants to surround these 4 stones, I would be able to build the left side while reducing black. But when white directly saves them, black now has a target. Black can now use the fact that white is now heavier on the top to now reduce white's left side. So black plays here. Yep, black is attacking from afar. And then black shoulder hits here. I think shoulder hit, you don't want to touch the stones you're attacking, but the general idea is correct. You want to play some move towards these stones, even if you just capped it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yep. Now, as you said, white has now invested a stone. White really needs to help these stones now, right? You need to kind of, you can't get everything, so you've helped these stones, so you got to accept the loss on the left side. And the loss actually is not that much. Black can go down and Hane here, but you can simply just descend. And this is what's nice about this corner, is very hard to kill. So, yeah, you get pushed down a little bit, but in terms of making helping your weak stones up top, it's definitely better. And I 100% agree, yes. And there is one other thing that I think would also help white here, is I was saying how these black stones are like really not that weak because they can cut anytime. But here's the thing. White can play a move like this, which threatens to cut off the corner. And now, if white can save these 3 stones, now these black stones here could be considered weak because now there's a cut here at N13. So white really needed to play some move around P15. And again, if black does something else, white's able to just jump in. And white's going to be able to maybe not even kill the corner, but if black has to live in the corner, then white's going to be able to get into the right side, which is, again, quite nice. So white needed to find the timing to also get this P15 move as well. Oh yeah, no, we still got 10 minutes or 8 minutes or so. So yes, but this is kind of what I was illustrating earlier, where it wasn't one big mistake and all your stones died. It was more just a couple things. And as you get stronger, as you know, the mistakes are more costly, and black was able to just kind of take it all the way home in a sense. So white goes here, black goes here. Now the thing again with this move, and this is actually where I kind of glazed over it, but this move here, this exchange here is actually not good for black. Black should just leave this, because this took away a liberty from these Q17 stones. And if that takes away a liberty, that means if white blocks here and black cuts, because P17 took away liberty, white can cut here and capture the entire corner. So even after black pushed, yes, and that is 100% true, but after you're lived in the center, it is definitely big enough, and you never got to play this way. Mm-hmm. That is true, but it is a corner, and that's why, as you said, in the game, maybe you didn't find the time to, but you'll see you played a few slower moves that would have definitely been bigger than this. But yes, at this point, yes. White goes there. Plays there, yes. Play there, okay. Push there. Yeah, I think, again, the push feels, if the push is not sente, white really wants to play some sort of shape move towards the right side, because that's where all of black's potential is. Because even these 4 stones, we don't really care, or shouldn't care that much about, even if black ends up playing some move there. So I think playing something towards the right side would be much bigger, because after this push and fix, black's able to then peep and then keep playing towards the right side. And you get this Hane, but when black just Hane's back, you can see you don't get that much for it, and even you left it. So here, black needs to ask, okay, where can I build? Because black plays from this way, but this is almost pushing white towards black's area. Black should maybe either play this jump or play this cap here. Playing here, this area here on the bottom is not worth it for black to play. So white attaches, this is correct. Pushing down, the problem with pushing down is there is a potential push and cut here as it stands. But once you push and cut, now it's a ladder. So now white has made it so this push and cut doesn't work anymore. To fix. Yes, exactly. So I think you end up... What does white end up doing? Yeah, cut there. But I think you end up getting a move around like here. Yeah, a move like this would be good because it's threatening to push and cut. And so black can't answer, I guess, simply because black has a few problems now. Black has to worry about the push and cut, the Hane. There's a lot of problems for black. But yeah, this fixed black's shape here. Cut. Yeah, and I know why white cut, because order of moves, whereas you would like to just be able to do this outright. Black peeping here. Black could actually give up the stones there in exchange for the cutting off the center. So this order of moves I do get, but it is painful to allow black to make this exchange. So I'll try to find a way, if possible, to just live. Because again, down the line, if you, let's say, are alive, turning here does become quite big. It does become quite a big move. So again, after you make this cut here, this black is now fully alive in the corner, but this turn here again makes, if black cuts, this makes this cut here at R17 work. Yes. To activate that, yes. But when you make this exchange, now that cut will never work. Yes. Ajikeshi. Yes. Yep. And that's kind of, and this was kind of the problem when you got super heavy is flailing might be a harsh term here, but you're almost flailing to make eyes, whereas black's fixing all the weaknesses, right? And black's even getting a wall here in the center, which is going to reduce your left side. So, yeah, and you could see right at the end of the game, your first 10 moves were all on the left side. And then if you look at the end of the game, you only made like 10 to 15 points elsewhere. So your first 10 moves built the left side, and then the rest of your stones were only worth like 10 points on the other side of the board. So, yeah, and then threatening to separate here. Again, this would be a move to play before you are alive, because black is more inclined to keep you separated. But now that you're alive, yeah, black smartly says, okay, I don't mind if you connect. So, yeah, this timing is also suspect. You'd rather force black to have to connect if black's in danger in the center while building the left side. But trying to connect here, yeah, black smartly says, okay, I'm just going to come in. And yeah, so black reduced you a little bit, although fourth line territory obviously is nothing to scoff at. But yeah, just when black has the entire right side, it's hard to compete with that. We get the cut. Black comes in, yes. 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 Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's whatever black ends up doing. So black can't E1 because this threatens the snapback. So the best move black can try is here. And order of moves is important here. If you cut, black would have time to Atari, but you can Hane first like this. And if you can Hane first, black has to cut. Now you can cut. Now it's a case of black can never play at B1, or black can play at B1, but black doesn't have enough liberties to kill. So black would be dead here. Black can never play C1, but you can always end up playing at F1 and capturing the stones. So, yes, killed outright. Yep. Yes. Yep, both players played this perfectly fine. But yeah, it was just, this whole game was, maybe white's invasion was a little premature, but nothing bad. But it was really just white trying to save these 4 stones, which again, you can look and see how many points did you make with these 4 stones. You didn't make any. And black was able to, the initial 4 that you jumped out with at the top, these 4 here. Yeah, it was just, yeah, G12, yep. G12. So, yes. Yep, build the left side. While, again, I think direction's okay, because if black gets something like F11, right, whenever you have competing moyos, whoever plays in kind of the spot where they meet is going to have an advantage, because it reduces while building. So that's why, yeah, I think, yeah, playing here builds your moyo while reduces black. So, but yeah, just for my sake, I want to finish up at the end of the game. But yeah, it was just, again, no huge mistakes, just black attacked you, and yeah, just it was enough by the end of the game. Yeah. And I believe it was black by 30-ish, something like that, right? 30 something. Let me see. Oh no, it wasn't. Thinking of a different game. Yeah, black by 17. Black by 17 and a half. So yeah, and again, as I was saying, you had the left side early on, but how many points did you make elsewhere? You made 5, 6, 7, 8, like 15 elsewhere. So yeah. Okay. Yes, like here. Mm-hmm. Sure. Yes. So, as I was saying, we were having a game where it's almost a Moyo versus Moyo game, right? And so you do not want to be the first one to invade. And the reason, it's not so much a point, like a problem with points, it's a problem with being under attack. So when you invade first, again, not saying this group is going to die, but black is going to be able to push you around and almost dictate what's going to happen in the game. Black's going to be able to control the flow of the game. So it's not necessarily so much one's worth more than the other. It's more of a, I'm going to try to get my opponent to invade first kind of feeling. Because again, if your opponent ends up playing in, and actually, now that you mention it, you did miss one other key thing here. This move plays inside of your Moyo. And remember, when you have a Moyo, you want your opponent to come in. So this is a spot where I was recommending jumping out. This is making the left side like, oh my god, as black, I got to do something. But if black does something, well, now you have something to attack. So when you played inside, you're almost limiting your own Moyo. You're playing inside of your potential. So yeah, so it's not a, with your question here specifically, it's not so much a one's worth more than the other. It's more of a who's going to control the game. Because as we saw, now you're playing in an area where black can push you around however black wants to. Yeah, so, but yeah, and playing here, again, even if black ends up taking the corner, you can play not even invading, but some sort of sector line move. I don't know, I'm just going to pick one. And it's hard for black to, okay, how do I prevent you from coming in? How do I prevent you from building the left side even, right? Mm-hmm. Yes. Potentially, but compared to the game, if black does do that, you're able to then come in deeper. And now black has potential to lose more. As opposed to the game where you were weak when black could do this. Here, you're actually flexible. You can play in many different ways. And even if you don't play this move, what if we play the same move that you could have played in the game? Similar idea, building while reducing. So really it came down to you spent 1 move, 2 moves, and then 3 moves on the left side. So you fell behind in pace in the game. So yeah, it wasn't necessarily here's where the problem. It was more like here you could have played something, and now it wouldn't be as like you could have played here now. And now black doesn't have F14, which does change things a lot. But we have other games to get to. I apologize. I need to get to the other games. But yeah, very nice game by both players. And yeah, let's move on to game 2. We are back. Here is game 2. We have Free Food 89, 9K as black versus eurosteev, also 9Q as white. And similarly to the first game, no huge mistakes, just little tiny minutia to talk about. Although I think in this game there was one big mistake, but we'll get there. We will get there. And so far, this is very standard. This is very standard. Nothing to say here. This is all fine too. Black extends even. And if you want to extend, generally you want to slide first to prevent the kick. But this is also okay. And white goes here. This is also playable. And white extends. Black extends. So this, everything here makes sense. Here for black, B15 in the meantime is not the biggest thing to do. After white plays b17, white is fully alive in the upper left, and your 2 stones or 3 stones on the left side are very solid as well. So this is a time for black to just do something else, whether play here, whether maybe jump here, just do something else. White plays 3-3, play here, and then black plays here, which again, very, very standard. So before we look at what white did, let's talk about almost invasions really quick. So let's say black wanted to play up top. Let's say black plays L17. When you are invading, ideally you want to have 3 directions you can go. So for example, in this case, this black stone can extend along to the left, extend along to the right, or extend along into the center. And so that black has 3 ways black can go. Now the reason why you want this is so that if white takes one of them, you have 2 choices. So, okay, I can go this way. Or maybe in some cases, you might want to jump up. If white takes this one, again, you can pick 2 options. So it doesn't matter which one white picks, you have 2 options to choose from. Let's say white had an extra stone here. Or let's say you played here instead. This would not be as good because in this case, you only have the jump out or the extension along the top. Now it's still playable because even if white takes one, you can take the other, but it's still not as good as having 3 options. Now, of course, let's say white even had the stone here already, and then you played in. Well, this would not be good because you only have 1 direction you can go, and so if your opponent takes that one, well, now you are under attack. So 3 is ideal, 2 is playable, 1 is not so good. Now, the other key is all of these moves I was showing, I'm playing on the 3rd line. And the reason for that is when you play on the 3rd line, it's easier to make a base. When you have a base, you have strength because you can make eyes. So let's say black had played on the 4th line and white played here. Notice if black ends up extending, whether on the 3rd or 4th line, white can undercut black's base and black is still floating. Whereas when you're on the 3rd line, it's a lot harder for white to take that out. It's a lot harder for white to take out the space. So, if we look at the game, keeping all that in mind, yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. 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 So you're talking about like if you have 1 stone, extend 2. If you have 2, extend 3. That kind of thing, right? And that is true. That is true. The thing with that is when your stones are potentially weak. So like, for example, on the right side here when white extended 3, right? That's because if white goes elsewhere, black could attack these 2 stones, right? I think in this case, black is more just trying to build the bottom, I think. I think it's still okay. This is one of those cases where the difference between one or the other, because it's not like black's going to get attacked, it's not that important. I've seen this because these 3 stones can get under attack. So if black extends even 1 further, and let's say white gets some stones in this area, right? Now you're a little far away now, even though you, in some cases, want to extend 4. There's potential for weakness later. So I think playing here directly is trying to help if white ends up getting on top. Right. Yes. Yes. Yes, exactly. Yeah, pretty much. But white goes here. So what are the problems with this invasion? Is that 1, white has some space to wiggle or extend along the sides, but not much, right? And it's because white has played a 4th line stone against a 4th line stone. And so white really can't extend either way. And also white played on the 4th line, so it's harder to make a base this way. So instead, white has a lot of options. White can play here, which again, white can slide under, white can jump out, or white can extend towards the lower right. So white has 3 directions white can go. So if black takes one of them, white can take another one of them. If black takes one of them, you can take another option. Black takes one, you can take another option. Or same thing if you play something like M3. And this shape here is actually pretty standard. You'll see this a lot where if your opponent has kicked you and then one space jumped, you want to get this, if you can, you want to be able to get this, in this case, knight's move approach, to look at P3. P3 is a nice spot to get, especially when you have M3 already. But yeah, this move, same thing. You can jump out, you can extend along the bottom or extend towards the lower right. When you play here, you're not threatening to go under these fourth line stones because it's a little too far away. So when black plays a move like this, if black played a move like this, even if you extend something in this direction, your base is a little cramped, and even if you get a move, you're still not alive on the bottom. So unless you only have one direction, you don't need to play on the fourth line. Especially if your opponent has third or fourth line stones, you definitely want to threaten to undercut them like this. Yes, black goes there, white goes here, and then I like black's idea. Black say, okay, now that you're heavier on this side, I'm going to ask how you're going to answer this. M3, yeah, I would, because it's a stone you can attack, I would try not to touch it, but the direction is good though, because black wants to push white towards the lower left because that's where black is strong. So black's pushing white towards black's strength. O6 is also possible. And it's because white played on the fourth line. It's just hard to manage the stone that's in the fourth line. Either way is possible, though. Either way is possible. Yeah, it's not a shoulder hit, it's an armpit hit, right? That's what black did. Yeah, and that's why it's if white just answered, which is what white should do, it's black almost has to add another stone, and now white's even stronger. So that's why backing off a little bit, now you don't make white stronger, but this is also possible. This is also possible. Yeah, it's a different strokes for different blokes. Just either way is fine. But yeah. Now when black plays in, because white made the two stones heavier, now white really can't attack both sides because however black plays, black can attack the bottom while threatening the right side. So yes. But if you're going to do anything white, you don't want to do this diagonal because this allows black to separate you. You need to do this attachment here. And it's better because you're taking away the liberty from the stones, whereas when you kick, notice black's liberties gets a lot better. So even if black can play this way, even if you can just connect, again, black gets into the right side, but you stay connected and you can help your bottom side stones. Like this, though, and you jump, yeah, now black's letting you connect, but you're almost connecting to like not alive groups. So it's still not super good for white. Play there, yes, and then play there here. And then this is, again, almost like the big highlight for this game is this wedge here. So wedging in between a one-space jump, believe it or not, is very rarely possible. And it's because there's a lot of ways for your opponent to answer this, whether it be Ataring on either side, as well as when they Atari, fixing on either side. So in the game, white Ataris this way, but there's not much weakness on this side for white to poke at. But if black were to Atari this way, or white should Atari this way, I should say, now white has to pick between either way. And again, no matter which way white fixes, it's hard for black to actually cut. So if white fixes this way, if black cuts here, white can just push through here. And black's going to lose something. And even though black captures the two stones, white's going to capture something along the bottom as well. And if you just end up connecting, then when white connects, it even threatens, okay, yep, thank you for watching. If white connects, then it even creates a weakness in black's shape again. So there's not a great way for black to answer this if white had simply Atari the other way. So that's why instead, just keep attacking white on a large scale. Even if you played this kind of empty triangle, which looks to poke here, you can see white's shape is actually quite bad if you just start to poke poke at the shape there. So yeah, just keep attacking white on a large scale. But when white goes this way, yeah, now white ends up losing these stones here, and that's almost kind of it. Because this is just so big. And when you have these kind of peaceful games, once one side loses a big group like this, you can see what can white switch to attack. White really can't attack this group. White really can't attack this group. So it's just difficult now. Now, if anything, white, you need to play this one. You need to play this Atari here because it keeps some weakness in black's shape. I even think maybe even Atarying first, like this. And then maybe even Hane next. You can see while these stones are on the board and while these stones aren't captured, you can really put pressure on both of black's groups. But as soon as we'll see in a few moves, black's able to fix by going here and then fix by going here. Now black is pretty much 100% alive. Now these stones are just going to get captured outright. Whereas even if you're able to cut here, imagine a world where, okay, maybe they get captured where black has to spend moves on the inside. Well, now it's going to become, not as big. And obviously here black died. But the idea stands that if you can squeeze black down and force black to have to capture, then that is still a good exchange for you. It makes the capture smaller for black. But yeah, white goes here and connects. Here you want to just extend this again. Besides that, there wasn't any big mistakes. So from here on out, it's just going to be really just minutia that you just kind of need to learn. So yeah, like descending here. There's no weakness in your shape here, so there's no reason to just connect solidly like this. Black goes down. That's fine. Extend. This is okay. Sure. This is a little strange. No reason not to just block here because the ladder doesn't work for black. But also, if you don't want to see this peep, here I mean, then you can simply just extend here. But going there, it's a little strange. It's a little strange. Black pushes, you pull back. This makes sense. And here, when something, let's say, catastrophic happens, like losing the lower right, you really need to take sente when you have the chance. Now, again, on this game where we have kind of simple shapes and groups that are pretty solid, it's hard. It may be hard to find it sometimes, but you don't want to connect here. Even if you might lose something locally, you need to kind of make things happen on this board. So even if black can cut here and then cut here and then go here, as long as you can stay connected in the meantime, it's fine to do something else. So connecting there, while big, it's not important because if black's able to just extend here, well, now how can white catch up in this game? It's just too difficult. So we get this. A Hane, yes, and then a connect. That connect is good because if you play a different shape, black's going to be able to get some endgame. So this connection, as opposed to the bottom one, is actually good. Black goes here. Always try to get this peep. Because right now, black has to make a decision on how to answer it, whereas down the line, black might play differently. So while you can, try to get your peeps in. Because, for example, when you go here, and let's say black plays this one, now if you peep, you're now a move behind. Black can now play differently. But while there's no stones there, black has to play this peep in a different way. Even if black just connects, that is a good exchange, because if black still plays a move there, that exchange at D13 didn't lose us anything, but it's a good exchange to make. Push. Here it's a minor thing, but especially when we have a stone at G2, we can get a little extra by Atarying and then playing here. And then we can fix like this. So we need to worry about this if this cut here is dangerous, but as we can see, it's not. So yeah, this is a case where you can Atari first and then Hane, and then play here. Whereas when you go here, maybe white later can get B1, and that's a pretty big exchange. White goes there. So again, it's pretty nonchalant, but it's like all of white's moves are good. But it's as if white didn't get behind from the lower right. Like white needs to be trying something a little more, I don't want to say desperate because you want to play moves that work, but a little more like trying to get as much as possible in certain areas. So yeah, black was just able to kind of just cruise to a victory. And yeah. And here, like when white pushes here, notice this was Gote, white had to fix. So white, you had Sente here to do anything. So, but taking this one spot to just end in Gote, yeah, isn't the best use of Gote. Now again, as I was saying, there wasn't everything here both sides were doing like worked and was okay. There was no big mistakes besides the lower right, of course. But there was one thing right at the end, and then we'll go to the third game. Where is it? It's coming up. Right here. Is white can Atari here. And whenever you can get this, if you have the 2 stones here, and you've gotten this Hane at G1, if you can get this G4 stone, it's a good move to get. It's a very good move to get. Or it's a good move to get because you don't have to connect at H1. You can play moves like here. Now, yeah, now that I'm actually looking at it, does it, maybe in this case it doesn't work now that I look at it, because in a lot of cases you can just Atari down, but in this case, Ataring down would connect black to the other way. So maybe in this case it doesn't quite work. So, yeah. I would still try to get this Atari, and yeah, maybe it doesn't work here. Okay. White connects though, and then black fixed. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. In a lot of cases though, this is a nice spot to get. But yeah. Wedge is okay. And they just kind of finish up the game, and I said the other game ended by 30 points. This was the game that ended by 30 points. So, realistically, white, I would say just look at, when you're invading, just try to think about what I was talking about early on and try to apply that, as well as if the game starts to become dire, you really need to make things happen than just kind of play quote-unquote normally. And for black, you played very solidly. I would just look at, like when you wedged here, just trying to think about, okay, let me keep attacking the group on a large scale. Like you don't need to just go after the 2 stones. You can keep attacking everything. Yeah, other than that, black played very solidly. So yes. Yeah. And then the end result was black by 33. Yes, black by 33.5. But yeah, overall, nice game. Again, besides the lower right, no huge mistakes, and both sides played very solidly. So yeah, let's move on to game 3. We're back. Here is game 3, the final game. Let's jump right in. We have AmbererAlchemist 9K as black versus Yowa 4380 as white 10K. And again, as were like the other games, we get a very standard opening. Although this is not that this move is bad. This is very reminiscent of the Kobayashi, though. This is the Kobayashi opening, made famous or popularized by Kobayashi Koichi, I think in the 2000s or maybe late 90s. But yeah, this was all the rage when I was getting better in like 2011-ish. This was all the rage. So I know all about this. And the key is, because I don't think there's much of a difference between this move and this move, the key is we're trying to make a quote-unquote normal approach to the lower right pretty painful. And we're gonna be able to use the stone on the bottom to attack any approach white does towards the right side. Now, the reason why you want to play further here is to avoid getting over-concentrated. Because let's say white had kicked first, how far would you extend here? You would want to extend to here, right? Because if you have 2 stones on the side, you want to extend 3. And even though this is just 1 stone, and it leaves some weakness here at H3, this stone at F3, always remember, singular stones are pretty much always light. So no matter what happens, we can always treat this stone lightly if we must. But when we play here, and let's say white kicked, now you can see all of a sudden, we had 2 stones and we've extended 2. So we've already gotten over-concentrated. It'd be as if white does this, kicks us, and then we went here. It's just a little bit too close. So that's why you want to play all the way to the start point there. But it's very similar. It is very similar. It's just at this point, white, you would want to kick here and over-concentrate black. And again, kicks are pretty much always sente. The shape after, or if you ignore, is just way too painful. But okay, white approaches, and again, if we're thinking along the lines of this is the Kobayashi opening, you want to play some move. Again, AIs have found different ways to play it, but to keep things simple, you want to play a further away extension, pretty much to avoid getting pincered is the idea. Whether you play this one and black goes here and then we play this, or if we play this one and same thing, something like this could happen. But playing here, black does the right thing and pincers. Plays here, and yeah, this is a good result for black. And so white's kind of treating it like this kind of variation. Which again, if you don't know, if you're seeing a joseki or a shape that you've seen before, like that's what you want to try to do, is try to make it something that you've seen before. So this all makes sense. So white plays here, although black has lean instead of jump, but same idea. White plays here, black stands up. Technically wrong order, but this is one of those things where I couldn't actually tell you why this is the right order, to be 100% honest, but I just know if we're thinking along the lines of the normal joseki approaching the 4-4, I just know that this is proper. It's to push first and then try to break through like that, as opposed to playing up like this first. But yeah, play here. And I think you're supposed to jump here. As long as you want to jump until the push and cut doesn't work. So here the push and cut would work because you get captured. So you want to push until it doesn't work. But again, black eventually jump, which is good. And then white plays here. So this timing is actually very, very good. I'm very impressed with white's timing here because it's hard for black to pick which way to go. Because in the game, when black blocks here and does the double hane, white could have gotten a very good result here if white had simply pushed here like this. This would be so bad for black because black is now going to get cut off from the right side. And even if you block and white covers and you fix, it's very hard to now save the stone here. White is pretty much always alive, and now white can seal you in on the right side. This result would be great for white. So we can't really block that way. If we block this way, again, it creates some weaknesses in my push and cut here, or some annoyances in my shape. Yeah, and if we just block this way and do the same thing, there's still going to be some aji now, or if white just pushes us down now, because white could say, okay, I'm going to give you that side, so let me just push you down. Yeah, it's very good timing. I'm very impressed by this. Black does this one, and yeah, you don't want to do this one because of the push and cut here. Now in the game, white went here, but yeah, this was suboptimal. It does let white connect, but black saves this R12 stone. Black pushes here, white goes there. Black goes here. White goes elsewhere, and then black hanes. So I think white should hane once. Always remember, you can hane to prevent a connection. Because even just by making this exchange here and going elsewhere, black is now unable to connect. Because if black tries to cut, this becomes an Atari now. So if black takes, then white can still connect. But if you don't make that exchange, when black hanes, now notice your S6 is now not an Atari. Black could just Atari now, or cut you. So always try to hane to prevent a connection. Hane, prevent a connection, and then go elsewhere. Because keeping black separated from the right side is actually does do a lot for white. So yes. And then white goes there. So notice how white is playing, right? White is playing a moyo style game. And so black says, okay, I oblige. I'm going to make my own moyo or make my own territory here. But then white immediately goes into where black is strong here. So if white wants to play this kind of way, white should just keep trying to take territory, keep trying to build. White doesn't need to come in the top, especially when white can always slide under if white has to. There's no reason to play this almost invasion, and when black descends, now white needs to do something with the stone here. White extends, now black. General rule of thumbs when you're attacking. 1, don't give your opponent good shape. Always remember, don't give your opponent good shape, as well as Always keep in mind, this is true not just when you're attacking, but in general, your opponent's key move is my key move. So when you push here, notice you push white towards 017, and then when you push again, you gave white a tiger's mouth and gave white a double tiger's mouth. So you gave white good shape. So instead, I would just jump here. Seal white in. I think the direction is okay, but you want to just seal white in. And again, force white to live small. Now, even before that, though, when I push here and white extends, what if I take white's extension? So this is where black can clamp here. So your opponent's key move is my key move. So if I push and white extends, what if I take white's extension spot, which in this case is a clamp? And this, again, if you can make this shape here, this is a good shape to make. If white goes down and now we turn, white's now on the second line. If white goes up, then I connect under, and again, now we're taking out white's base. We're the one making points now. So, yeah. But playing this way, you just kind of let white connect. And, yeah. Again, not a horrible result, but it could have been a lot better. You play in. I like this because we have some center stones. So now we have some support. And then white plays here. Which, again, if white was playing territorially, I don't understand white playing up top and then trying to attack here. And then playing inside. Which, again, as I was saying earlier in the second game, how many directions can white go? This would be a case where white can kind of go towards the bottom, but you can see it's kind of, or the bottom right, I should say, but it's kind of getting filled up there, as well as you can kind of go towards this way, but going out, you know, white has some weaknesses here. So if black played from this direction, I think this is quite dangerous for white. Now, this is where instead of playing deep, because I've asked myself, okay, how many directions can I go? It's a little tight in some of the spaces. This is where I would play from the third or fourth line. If black wants to just take the points, then this exchange is good for me, because it means even if black ends up swallowing this L5 stone, because black spent a move on the inside, I haven't lost anything. So this exchange is a good exchange to get. So this is a case where I don't want to play, quote unquote, the normal move because the space starts to get filled up. It's a little tight there. And we see that black actually kicks, white extends, white jumps out, and we get this exchange. And you can see, did white make many points here? Not really. Not really. So, yeah, and I think here for black, I think connecting is actually might be bigger than it might seem, simply because it connects me. When I go here, if white were to Atari here, again, not that this is catastrophic for black, but I don't want to connect. I don't want to fight this ko, but I also want to prevent J2 if possible. So it's hard to find a great move for black, because even if black can try to attack this group, white getting J2 creates some weaknesses in black shape, because there's a clamp at G2 now. So I'd really want to try to connect here if possible. But white jumps, that's reasonable. And black turns, yep, $1 million turn. The thing with this turn, though, is notice how, remember earlier I was talking about how if you have one stone, you want to extend 2, and if you have 2 stones, you want to extend 3. Well, notice white has extended 4 from 2, right? So these 2 stones have extended 1, 2, 3, 4. That means it's an overextension, which means if I can get a move around here, there's no good way for white to stay connected. Now, again, in this case, because white can maybe attack these 3 stones, it wouldn't be that good. But what that means is turning here could be a good move, but I might not want to turn there because it forces white to connect, right? It forces white to make good shape. So this is maybe where, and again, this is tricky. I want to maybe try to find a way to help these stones without forcing white to play in this area. Again, maybe that might be impossible, because at any point, you know, if I play a move like this, well, maybe white can come out anyways, and white's helping that side. So it might be a fever dream of mine, but that would be what I would be trying to do. If anything, though, I would still be trying to go after this group here. So I'd be looking to even just peep here, see how white plays. Maybe white goes here, but cutting here now becomes a big spot later down the line. But black turns, forces white to fix, and then goes here, and then stands up. And yeah, here white, I think you just got to bite the bullet and just give up those 3 stones. Yeah, this is too painful. Now black here, whatever you want to do, just keep white separated. But in the game, you did almost the one thing that allows white to connect. So there's a lot of ways you could do this. You could jump across here, where if white pushes through and cuts, we can Atari and connect. We have now successfully separated white. If white pushes this way, same thing. We have now successfully separated white. Even if we just push up here, it'll be the same thing. Hane, cut, be the same thing as the other variation. Even our move here could work if we had simply wedged here. If white cuts this way, again, white has issues in white shape. If white just connects, then we can actually just push and cut this. And we have a ladder breaker here. If white tries to fix both sides by going here, well, then we get this Atari and to connect. And now there's problems here for white. So, yeah, you want to do anything that keeps white separated, or you don't want to touch that area because there could be potential to separate it down the line. But just playing these exchanges here to allow white to connect, yeah, it's not great. It's hard to see what you gained with these two stones. Slide here. This is very good. We can connect back. And for the next few moves, white should really be looking to Hane here. Again, it's going to be forcing, and it's going to hurt black shape a lot. Whereas if black's able to get this descent here, it fixes black shape, but also threatens monkey jumps. So you'll notice white never gets that move but for the next few moves, white definitely could have gotten that. So white gets that and separates. And black finally went here. Again, this was pretty big. White cuts. So again, white cuts here, but white's now a move behind because black can simply just Atari here. And there's not really much Aji to live in the corner, even if this kind of thing happens. Yeah. But black played here and allowed white to separate. Now again, this should be okay, but black actually made a mistake here. White can kill by playing at S9. S9 kills because even though it might look like, I can make an I at T12, though, white can play here. And black runs out of liberties. You can't separate because I can cut. And if you try to play a move like this, I can simply Atari and connect. So, yeah, that just means black needed to play here. Again, life and death mistakes, they are always going to curse you until really you become professional. And even then, even professionals make life and death mistakes. So it's not the biggest deal that you miss this, but yeah, the white technically could have killed this. Now I will give black credit because when white played here, there was only one move that let black live, and it was this one. Because if you do this one, you would still be dead. So it's good that black saw this, but yeah, you could have died there. White plays there. It's okay, but why did you play here, white? My inkling is you're trying to get L14. And again, as black, I understand you shoulder hitting this. This makes a lot of sense. But white, you need to take the weak spot here. You need to take the weak spot here. Whenever you invade an area, and again, this is a wide open center, but you want to look for follow-ups. And it looks to me like getting this move is a very clear follow-up. White goes there. So black takes it, and then white fixes. Black jumps. Black goes down. Again, this move is very, very big. But yeah, one final thing in this game. There's a few more mistakes, but the one final biggest thing. So one, Atari here, this is Ajikeshi because this doesn't actually get you any more points, but F1 does. And F1 is nice because it actually threatens to save this stone at D1. White cannot play at E1. So if white has to fix, then obviously that's better than just making this exchange, and white can play F1 later. So for white, you actually want to play D1 because F1 now is not forcing. So it's a minor thing there, but good to mention. But then we get this cut here. And again, this is good by black. This is good by black. White goes here, black extends. So how to play here? If black had extended up, this would have been very dangerous for white. Because when black turns like this, now black's behind and now white has time to live. But if you stand up, now you're threatening peeps and to kind of surround on a large scale. So, but let's say white tries to live, right? Let's say something like this. Well, this move that you've played threatens pushing here. And something of white's is going to die because white can't push through. And white can save, but this Atari, you notice, threatens not only to capture, but also this cut. So this entire bottom side could get cut off. So, yeah, what that means is white has to play something else. And even if we play a move like this and black Hanes, this leaves a lot of bad Aji still. But basically, just turning here just did one thing, and white had time to live. Even though, again, I think you can poke here. But yeah, even this is, white still might live. But yeah, just pushing from behind, yeah, white has time to not only fix white's shape, but also live. So if you go here, yeah, it's a lot harder for white. You want to attack the center, so play away from the center. Try to threaten the other side. But yeah, black goes there. A little better to fix here. But yeah, after, again, no major mistakes in this game, but yeah, black just ends up, I think, because of white's kind of what's the term, like two early invasions, white just has kind of small groups. Like, how many points did white make with this early invasion here? None. How many points did white make with this early invasion here? None. Although technically you'll see in a second, black makes an oopsies here and goes here, which does the snapback. But even that was not enough for white to get back to this game. Because it's a case of, and this is generally true, if you look at the end of a game, whoever has more groups generally loses. And it's because each of those groups have to live. So, yeah, if we look at the end of the game, white has, although technically black has 4 groups to white's 4 groups as well. But yeah, this white's invasion here ended up with no points. This invasion up here ended up being points, but at 1 point it was only 1 point or no points. White only made 3 points here in the center. So yeah, pretty close game though. I believe it was within 10, right? Yeah, black by 11. So very nice game. And again, no major mistakes, just little tiny inefficiencies here and there, which is good to see. It means everyone's playing very well in this NAOL. But yeah, that's it for this review session. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see you all in the next video.